Welcome to the HIT podcast, H.I.T, Human Resources, Insurance, and Technology. I'm your host, Toby Kennedy. We ran a little long last week in our conversation with Joshua Barrows, so we cut it in half. This is part 2 of my conversation. If you missed part 1, go back and check out next week. Other than that, we're going to jump right into where we left off. This week's episode is brought to you by Montage Insurance Solutions. And without any further ado, here's the second half of my conversation with Joshua.
Yeah, so I'm starting to see a major shift in the industry as well. You know, of course, we talked about AI, we talked about technology, and yes, I can smell the change in the air, Toby. I can smell it.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, there's been, in the industry, I've noticed that there's been HCM companies partnering with insurance agencies and so on. And so how does that impact you when, let's just say, you have a client and you've built this relationship and they decide to just make a change away from you as a broker, right?
Yeah.
And you end up kind of losing out on that client experience. And I've heard stories where that client turns right back around and come back to you just because they realize the importance of having a relationship with your broker. But can you kind of tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think that's... No, I don't mind. I think it's a good question. I think that, to be honest with you, ideally, when you're in the right size segments of client group, which is where we try to focus our energy,
right,
we should be a much better fit than a technology vendor, right? So the types of clients that are sort of our key accounts are not necessarily also considering a PEO, for example, right?
Right.
But you're right. Number one, there's times where we have clients in that size segment. And number two, there's times where, you know, salespeople talk people into considering something that's, you know, size 7 foot and a size 10 shoe. It was never the right fit. And as you said, ideally they'll come back at some point. But people take a look at that, and I think that it's almost just another T, so to speak, in the SWOT analysis. It's just another threat kind of on the table that it has lots of threats, right? Do we ever slip on our service model? That's probably the biggest threat. Like, are we going to get in our own way? And ideally, no, never. And we spend a lot of time trying to make sure that we are as absolutely sharp as we can. What about other brokers knocking on the door? And when the technology vendors also become a broker, well, then that's just another person that's in that bucket that's calling our clients. But I will sometimes joke with people, and again, this is either way too inside baseball or I'm just being way too crude over and over again today. But I have a really good looking wife. She's beautiful. And I'm not just saying that, she's objectively beautiful. So I spend every day of my life knowing exactly what it's like having someone that has 10 trillion offers out there and could happily just go walk 10 feet down the road and have multiple other roofs to hang a shingle on, so to speak. And so what I'm getting at is I'm aware that my clients are beautiful clients in the market space, and they're valuable as well. And I don't think that you maintain those relationships artificially. I don't think you lock the door from the outside in. I think that what you do is understand there will be other grass. And so what you do is water and seed the heck out of yours. And so when someone's looking at other grass, it isn't greener over there. And the only way to do that is just work your butt off to make sure that this relationship is as well tended to as possible. I'm doing everything I possibly can to where you think to yourself, yeah, I got 100 other offers and I don't want any of them. I don't want those other offers. I want what we have here because you're the right fit.
With that being said, I'm a little curious to know a little bit more. You talked about how you're dealing with some of the changes in the marketplace, but now if I'm watching this, whether I'm a client or I am maybe a HR professional, maybe in SaaS. HR SaaS, just trying to understand a little bit more about like your go-to-market partnership strategy.
Yeah.
Like, what do you look for in partners in the marketplace, and like, how are you going to market to better serve your clients?
Yeah, I think today especially, but I feel like at any time someone would say today especially, because it's probably universal truth, but today especially. I think it's important not to get shiny object syndrome. I think it's important to have what I genuinely think I do and I'm grateful for, but have some discernment, right? So I think that you're going to have a lot of vendors and people that want to join the ecosystem, and they're going to explain to you why they are the sun, the moon, and the stars, and they're the absolute best fit for your client. and they're exactly who you should just move all your business over to tomorrow. And I get that, but I think our role for the client is to evaluate as much as possible what we're able to sort of get behind and stand behind. And I think that you're looking to build trust, and sometimes those things happen, bit by bit. And so if you're a vendor on the other side and you're wondering like, well, how do I get cracked into any broker, Montage, or anyone? I think that you cut through the noise. Like, you might actually be the right guy to ask. And the way in which you did it, I think, is you were consistently aware of the fact that you need to be held accountable. What you say needs to end up transpiring. Or there better be a darn good reason, right? Of course, things go sideways, but number one, you better not go disappearing when things go sideways.
Yeah.
And number two, there better be a good reason, not just, oh, you know what? Actually, we took on more business than we thought, and it's been hard to staff up. And it's like, no, don't give me that, right? Because the client relationship that we have is based on trust. So if I'm letting you in on the trust I've built, I'm ostensibly giving you my routing number.
Right.
And if you're going to overdraw that account because you're bad, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that really, truly, if you're in it for the right reasons, and you're in it to do right by your clients,
right,
and you're in it so that you and the name on the wall, like the name on the back of the shirt, your jersey, your name, and the crest on the chest, right, the name on the front, the team, all that reputation gets respected and upheld. You're weary of, chasing after every little new thing that pops up that's, again, promising the sun, the moon, and the stars, because they've got data that shows 50% engagement and I'll save you 9% on your premiums and blah. I go, look, dude. In politics, they joke, there's 3 types of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics. And if you torture numbers long enough, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. So, if you give me 10 different vendors that all promise me at least 10% premium reduction, okay, if I put all you guys in and my healthcare's free, right? Of course not. Of course not. So I think that making sure that you validate what you're being told before you bring people into your ecosystem and plugging them in at first in the spots that are really, truly, hey, this is a uniquely good spot. You said you serve this need. My client, for the following multiple reasons, is in kind of a weird pickle. We're going to give you an at-bat, right? And does that go well? And does the next one go well? And then I think it builds from there.
I think that's important to note too. And if you're watching this and listening to this, relationships are built off trust, and especially in business. And, the most important, I would say, group, it doesn't matter about my interests. It doesn't matter about your interests. Yeah. It's all that matters about the client, right? And what they need and what they want. And so if you're a partner and you're doing what's in the best interest of the client from the very beginning, when you're having that very first meeting and you're asking them those second and third level questions and you're digging deep and truly understanding what those needs are, and then bringing in a partner like yourselves or vice versa, right? When you bring in a different partner as well too, it's built on trust, knowing that, okay, we're both doing what's in the best interest of this client to help them accomplish the best outcome for their business, to help them succeed, right?
Well, I like that you're phrasing it with what's in their best interest. And earlier, just a second ago, you said what they want and what they need. Because to be honest with you, those two aren't always the same thing. There's that Henry Ford quote that says, well, if I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. Right? Because they maybe didn't know they wanted a car. But when he's building the car, he's like, trust me, this is better, right? So I think that borrowing from that analogy, sometimes having the courage to talk to the client and say, hey, listen, I understand this is what you're professing that you want. You pay me to give advice. Like, in my expertise, actually, this might be what you need, or at least what you need to consider, right? I'm not here to tell you anything, but I am here to show you, and I'm here to discuss with you, and not just to push paper and be a yes man. I think that at any seat in the table, for even the HR folks in listening that want to get at the executive table, right? If you get invited to a table, it's not to be a yes man. It's because I want to know what's in your brain, and I want you to audit what's happening in this conversation, and you need to help me call balls and strikes. And that might mean you telling me how you see it. and having the courage to tell me how you see it, not just agree with me.
At what point did you start having that discernment to really truly understand like the best route to take for your client? You know, was it at the very beginning, or has that like matured over time?
Yeah. I think it's funny because I think, you know, that meme that's like, what my friends think I do, what I think I do, what society thinks I do. I think a lot of times when you talk to someone just on a surface level and you tell them you do insurance, they're probably thinking of State Farm or Farmers or something like that.
Yeah.
Although ironically, I'm about to quote the Farmers guy who's like, I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two, right? So I think in answer to the discernment question, I think that you get it bit by seeing things. You know, I mean, it's almost like those old timer farmers. They'll just look up at the sky and for no reason because it's going to rain in 3 days or whatever. Like, God, why do you know that? Like,
yeah.
And somewhere inside them, they're probably measuring barometric pressure or something. They don't even know they're doing it. But having seen something enough times, and in fairness, caring a lot, right? This is what I do for a living. You joked earlier about my black belt, but that's because I'm not the type of person to do jiu-jitsu, but not get to a black belt, right? I joked earlier about my wife. I started dating her at 17 years old and just really cared about that relationship. And now we're 23 years into a very happy marriage with 2 kids, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you do even about this industry where it's like, or soccer. I played through top 10 Division I college soccer because when I'm doing something, I really care about it. And I care, hey, if this is going to be what you say is your thing, are you comfortable not being great at it? Are you who are you as a person? That's a philosophical question. Anyone can search their own heart. But for me, I'm a refiner. I'm a tinker. I want to get really good at the things I say. This is what I hang my hat on. This is what I do for a living. This is my profession. So I think that the combination of kind of that attitude mixed with a ton of time, mixed with good mentors. We talked about Danon earlier, and Danon's been doing this for a long time as well. And so when you have someone that can help, or especially in the early days, sit over your shoulder when you're calling balls and strikes, that one was in the strike zone, that's a curveball, like sort of helping you out so that you can kind of build your own acumen through that sort of alchemy is probably the organic and appropriate way to wind up saying, at this juncture, I feel pretty comfortable with recommendations I make, with you know, I guess we'll just keep calling it the discernment because it applies to a lot of different places.
Okay. So this year, what are some of the goals for Montage? And you know, maybe you could give us a little insight into that.
Ooh, we got to cut this out. No, I'm just kidding. I'll answer that question. You know, I think that we have been making progress on some software internally, and I'll maybe leave it a skosh vague other than to say we're one of the few insurance brokers I know of who, you know, when you look back at 2025's W-2 for the year, you'll see folks whose job title is software engineer. You know what I mean? Like, we're not just insurance consulting over here. We're looking to be smart about tech and how tech intersects with our life, both in a search for external vendors, of course, because sometimes people are like, hey, this is all we focus on, right? So, for example, TrueHue, sponsor of this show, right? Those guys are an amazing messaging tool that I don't need to go replicate internally because that's all they do, and they do a great job of it. So finding the right vendors, but then also deploying people internally to say, hey, what are the facets that we might want to build, right? So that's one angle that I'll sort of tease without getting too deep into.
I want to know more.
That's right. Well, stay tuned. So we'll do this again 12 months from now.
All right.
We'll have guest host Joshua back. It'll be your annual thing.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And then I think that you know that we're constantly trying to improve the mousetrap. And I don't use the term polishing our apple. She's like, I'm always polishing the apple, right? You always want to get better at things. And so just a constant review of the client experience, the client journey, keeping that in the forefront of every meeting you have. It should be the top of every agenda you have. If that's what you care about, you know, that's what you're doing. And then, you know, just I hope we wind up on the best places to work list again. Who knows? I mean, we've been on it, I don't know, 12 times in the last 13 years or something insane. So those types of little goals. And then in August, you know, like I said, I'm completing year 19. In August, Montage is completing its 20th anniversary. Yeah, so, you know, it'll be fun to turn the page on a full and complete 20 years in business that has seen us through, you know, launching, and then the economic downturn of the global financial crisis of 08, 09, 10, right? Through to COVID, through to employees coming and going through all the chaos that's always going on in the world, right? And we're sitting right here in the studio that's in the building that we own, that's in beautiful Calabasas. So, hopefully continued success as we turn the page on the 20-year anniversary, and we look forward to a new decade, stronger than ever and kicking butt.
I love that. Well, Toby, I think...
Yeah, it's a good way to get out, right? See, I'm your closer, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you left me speechless, but I'm definitely excited about the software and the technology and the innovation that you have. Congratulations going on year 20, not only for you, but also for Montage as well. And as you look back of all of the events that you've endured, and you're here now at the, I hate to say the AI revolution, but
it is what it is.
We're in the middle of
it.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the AI revolution. And actually, I'm actually Toby. I'm an AI bot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You want to know how good we are at tech? We made it look like a real person. It's gonna, give me one more cheers, and it's gonna like go through the cup, and it's gonna like fizzle. Right. You got 6 fingers or something. All right,
I have 10 fingers.
That's right. You gotta thank the sponsors, dude. Come on, we got.
All right. So who are the sponsors?
Rula.
So Rula, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. TrueHue,
Excel Health,
and
of course Montage Insurance Solutions.
And of course Montage Insurance.
And then do you know the closer? So the closer we always get out, we say, make this week the best week yet. And I'll tell you why.
Okay, why?
Okay. And I talked about this in episode 1. I haven't talked about it much since. But I heard a story from a center about Tom Brady. And Tom Brady played in the league for 20 years, right? He must have taken 10,000 snaps, right? 16 to 20-something games a year for these guys. And evidently, they'd get in the huddle. And at the end of the huddle, they'd be going, he's like, all right, guys, let's make this the best snap yet. Every time. And I just think if you have to do something in your life, in your career, for your job, over and over and over and over again, it getting monotonous and you getting kind of lazy and sloppy at it is understandable. And I think it's human nature. But if we can challenge the audience to close, go, hey, guys, let's make this next week. Let's make this the best week yet. And I'll see you back next week, Tuesday, right?
All right.
All right, so get us out.
Well, before we make this the best week yet, click below, like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe.
Describe it to all your friends.
Describe. Actually, there's like this AI thing where you can chat in, like maybe just the best...
Was this the best episode ever?
I feel like it's the best episode ever, right?
If this goes off the charts, you're going to have to guest host again.
But please like, comment, subscribe below, and make this the best week yet. Hey, thank you so much for joining our show. Thank you, Toby, for having me.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.